Welcome back, explorers. I'm David, that's Wesley, and this is the Trailcast.
The weekly show that gets so far off track, you'll have to stick around to see just where we end up.
Wesley, if we burn, you burn with us.
I'm not sure how I feel about that. Maybe it's a threat or something, but anyways, that's right. Today we are talking about Mockingjay Part 1. So, David, I have a confession to make.
Uh-oh.
Yes, it's honestly pretty bad. So I got pretty busy this week and weekend and yesterday. I did not watch the movie that we are talking about today. However, I have listened to the audiobook. At least the portion. I've listened farther than Mockingjay 1 recaps in the movie. But I've listened to at least that portion of it. So that is what I'm, and I had Sarah recap some of it with me. I haven't seen the movie recently. I've watched it before, but it's been a while. So that's my confession, David.
Well, so that actually might be a good thing, because I just watched the movie, but it's been forever since I've read the book. So
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a good little give and take here. I do have some comments to make along the lines of the story. But since you did watch the movie, tell me a little bit about like your thoughts on the movie, how it was, you know, how you felt about it. Was it good? Why was it good? What, did it flow well? Stuff like that. The typical things that we usually talk about. Lay some of that down for me and remind me, and give me some thoughts.
So, I don't really know that this movie needed to be split into two parts. Granted, it would be a long movie if they did it all at once to fit everything in. But I don't know that I don't necessarily know that it needed to be two movies, because this first section there's not really a whole lot of action. At the most the action is when they go to District 8 and then when they rescue the tributes, and you don't even get to see most of that.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I was talking with Sarah earlier, and she was talking about how good the books are, and she was like, the movies are good too, but it's hard because most of these books are obviously from the point of view of Katniss, but also a lot of it is her internal dialogue, just thoughts in her head. And my comment was that the first chapter of Mockingjay is all in Katniss's head. All of it's in her head. And so, when that's the majority of a book, it is kind of hard um to have that much meat to a movie. And like you said, like this movie is already a little over 2 hours long. So it's already a long movie as it is, not having the resolution that part two brings in. I feel like when they were making this, because even listening to the book, when they get to the point where when Peeta's rescued and Katniss gets strangled, it's not a bad place for you to end the movie. But I don't feel like they had enough. Like they drug out the first half of the book to make a 2 hour movie out of it, even though that part right there you can split and be like, yeah, this is a satisfying ending for part one,
mm.
But I don't feel like the rest of the movie and what I've read in the book has enough meat on it for you to like. There's no there is action, but there's not as much action. It's very it's very like getting to know. It's getting to know the characters. It's getting to know District 13 and stuff like that. Whereas in like previous movies, like the first hour would be dedicated to getting to know and world building, and the second
I
half
was
would
about
be
to say
more action.
Both the Hunger Games and Catching Fire both did that really well, and the books and the movies both do this. But where the pretty much the first half of the story is, like you said, just world building. Just laying out the characters, so, like getting to know the scenario and everything that's going on, and then you jump into the action in the second half, and it flows really well for there being virtually no action in the first half of the story.
Yes, it does.
But when you split,
Um,
but Mockingjay, the book, also flows with that scenario, or also flows that formula. So splitting it to where you have the world building part as one movie, and then the action as the next movie, I don't think works as well.
mhm. Yeah. Uh, Obviously, I've seen The Hunger Games the most, followed by Catching Fire, and I've seen Mockingjay Part One the least. I have not seen Mockingjay Part Two. Um, I don't know why, but I know I haven't seen it. Um, so I still think that they're. I haven't watched it. It's a great story. Um, and I would assume just because of the fact that the first two are really good, I would assume that this one's still really good despite the probably inflated runtime that they have to drag things out, and it may be a little bit more of a like in the past two movies, you don't feel the 2 hours as much. I would assume that in this one you probably feel the 2 hours a little bit more because there's less action to it. Maybe not
Hmm.
necessarily. That would be something that I'm more posing the question to you. But like that would be something that I would think would probably be the case, being that there is less action happening in this part of the movie or book in this case in this movie.
Actually, the time didn't really wasn't you didn't really feel it that bad. My thing is just like it's kind of just like not much seems to happen,
Hmm.
just because it is taking like the Mockingjay book is about the same. Actually, all the Hunger Games books are about the same. All three of them are about the same length. So you're
Hmm.
taking a book that's the same length as the previous two and stretching it out from just 2.5 hours to about a 5 hour. If you add both movies together, it's probably 5.5 hours.
Hmm. So you think
Yeah,
probably about two and a half to maybe closer to 3 hours would probably be. I mean, this is before Infinity War, so I feel like longer movies like that were a few and far between. I mean, I guess you had Titanic, which was one of the first really long movies, but you feel like maybe about 2.5 hours to maybe three would have been a good amount of time to tell this whole story.
I feel like they could have, yeah, in 3 hours. Um,
Mm.
yeah. To that point, this is kind of a side note. Like I said, like you don't really feel it being kind of long, unlike Avatar. I don't know if you I don't know the last time you watched that. That movie is long and it feels long.
I've watched half of Avatar because I can't get through it.
Mm-hmm.
Only once, and I've only tried once, and I got bored halfway through. I'm sorry. I know Avatar is so highly I don't care. I haven't gotten into it, and I don't see myself getting into it because it's not intriguing enough to me. It doesn't keep my attention long enough.
Mm-hmm. I do think it's kind of funny how it's like one of these most like or was the highest grossing film for a while. I don't Is it still? I don't know.
Uh, did Infinity War or no? Because didn't the new Avatar when it came out didn't it break the record
It
for
might
whatever
have.
was?
It might have. But it's just not. It's a 3 hour movie that didn't need to be 3 hours, and the I also think it's so funny the rare metal that everyone's or that the humans are trying to get is called unobtainium.
Oh, that sounds stupid.
Yeah,
Why?
it's.
Let's see. Why is this so hard to find? Let's see.
I'm assuming you're
Using
looking up highest grossing films right now.
yes, I am
Hmm.
all time. And why am I getting? I don't care about Steven Spielberg. Give me a list. Okay,
What?
let's see. 50 highest grossest films from IMDb. I feel like it's a pretty good source. Avengers Endgame is number one, um, with 2.7, almost 2.8 billion. Avatar is followed closely by 2.7, but it's I guess Avengers is 2.79 and Avatar is 2.78. Followed a little less closely by Titanic, which is 2.1. But that's the top three. Which is kind of surprising. Titanic is still that high.
When did Titanic come out?
97.
Yeah, okay, that's not
The
as far back as I thought it
closest
was, but still, that's
the closest movie in the top five highest grossing films, other than to Titanic in year. Well, I guess Avatar came out in 2009. I was gonna say it's 2015 because you have Force Awakens. But yeah, both of the Avengers, Infinity and Endgame, are in the top five. Endgame bringing up number one, and Infinity War bringing up the rear with number five. And number four is the Force Awakens, which is understandable because it was a huge thing when Star Wars released a new movie. So
mm-hmm.
yeah, so Avatar is still in the top five, um, but not my cup of tea. All you Avatar lovers out there, I'm sorry, it's just not my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, my point with all this was that
You had a point.
I think so. Anyway, but what I was saying was basically that why I think I think they shouldn't have done two movies with Mockingjay. I think it worked better because, or I think it worked better in some movies like Avatar, who just dragged. Like it was, it wasn't it didn't drag on, but I still think it was, a little bit slower than it should have been.
Yeah. However, let's see, where is it? Opening weekend. I want to see the actual box office. It looks like it made a lot of money, so
And therein lies why they did it.
hmm
That's why they
it
split it into two movies, so they could have two theatrical releases and hopefully make twice the money. I doubt they did make
okay.
twice. They
So
probably made more than if they just released one movie, but I doubt they made like actually twice. But
so Hunger Games. That's the first. Okay, Hunger Games, the first one, uh, made. One second.
they only made
Okay,
one second.
Hunger Games, the first one, made worldwide, 677 million,
Okay.
a budget of 80 million. The second, Catching Fire, made 864 million on a budget of 130 million. First Mockingjay made 766 on a budget of 125 million, and closely to the part one, Mockingjay Part Two made 646 million on a budget of 160 million. So it cost the most and did not make the most, but I mean they made or they made a worldwide, nationwide. They made over $1 billion off of the two movies, which they
Mm.
wouldn't have done if they made it into one. So you know, looks like they did in fact make a pretty good hunk of change off of all of them, but specifically the last two.
Mm.
So, I do have a question for you, being that you watched the movie. So, uh, some thoughts and questions about Coin, right? Wait, what's her name? Coin?
President Coin,
Is
yeah.
that President Coin? Okay, when I was saying that, I was like, in my head, I was like, no, that's stupid. Why would it be Coin? But anyways, so thoughts on President Coin and District 13 as a whole. In this, there is so much it's restrictive for Katniss and the other protagonists in our story. Um there's so much restricted for them, right?
Mm,
And in some ways, it's like, is this really any better than the rule of the capital? You know,
mm,
especially with the power hungriness of Coin. Now, obviously, we know all this stuff. Okay, if you don't know, she's not a great person. Um, that will if I don't remember necessarily what would come in play in this movie, but I know obviously in the next ones there's things that happens. Um, but you know, she obviously like she kind of puts Katniss down and kind of puts her thumb on Katniss in certain ways when she becomes the Mockingjay and becomes a symbol for the Mockingjay. Like you know, Katniss has all her conditions that she once met when you know, conditions that she once met, and if they're met, she'll become the Mockingjay, the symbol for the Mockingjay. Um, one of which is the tributes to be rescued and pardoned for any crime, any and all crimes that they would have committed. You know, because in her mind, it's not their fault. It's not, but you know, in her mind, post District 13's, it's not their fault.
mm,
So she has her announce this to everyone so that they can't back out or crumple the paper up, you know, anything like that. Um, but at the end of it, she puts on that the only as long as Katniss cooperates, basically, that all this will be upheld. Kind of putting Katniss in a firm line of saying, if you step out just a little
mm.
bit, I have the power here to do what needs to be done.
And
And
if
and it just goes back to the fact that, like, you know, Snow is so power hungry, and you see him as such an evil person. But throughout this, Coin doesn't really come like she kind of comes across starting out. It's like, oh, she's the leader of the rebellion. She's the president of the rebellion. She has to be good. And then you start to learn more about her character, and you're like, no, she's actually not good. She's actually, in some ways, just as bad as Snow.
she is just as much of a narcissist as Snow is.
I heard the phrase many times. You know, her and Snow are two sides of a coin. Hence the name Coin. You know,
Mm,
they're two sides of the same coin, and they really are in their in how they act. Also, in some of Peeta's talks when he's being interviewed or talking on the television or whatever. At one point, I don't remember which time it is, but at one point he says something about he's talking to Katniss and he's like, "Do you know, like, you know, you're not for the Capitol, but you know, should you trust the people you're with?" Which in all reality, like, can she and should she? I think no, in most cases, trust the people from District 13 who are running the rebellion. They're no better in, than the Capitol is in some of the things that they go about doing.
mm. It's kind of the thing of like it's the our District 13 still doesn't really care about the people of Pan Am. They just want to be in power instead of the capital.
Hmm. Um, at one point, Plutarch, I'm pronouncing that right, uh, says something about like when they're talking about what will happen when and if the rebellion succeeds in their mission, and he says that you know their plan is to basically make it a republic, and each district will have representatives and all that, you
Mm-hmm.
know, all that stuff, and um I don't know, remember if it was Katniss or not, but they kind of scoff at that. They're like, yeah, like that's actually going to end up working, and they're like, well, it worked in our history. You know, we're not just reading it from ordinary books; we're reading it from history books that this did work. And, then they're like, well, look at the state we're in now. Clearly it didn't work for long enough, because this is what ended up happening. And there is a sense within our protagonist's mind, specifically Katniss, but in some of the other ones as well, that, does District 13 really are they really in the best interest of what are we fighting for the same thing? Sure, we're fighting for the fall of the capital. Like you said, they're just as narcissistic as Snow is. They want control. That's why they're trying to do this. And I mean, even at the end of it, what does Coin uh uh suggest doing? Having a Hunger Games with just the capital kids. So if
Mm-hmm.
the Hunger Games are such a wrong and immoral thing to do, then how are we watching our good guy characters over here agree to doing that? Obviously that's one of the clue in things that Katniss is like, maybe these aren't people that I should. I mean, obviously she's skeptical up to that point, but that's one of the things where after having a conversation with Snow, she's like, maybe he's not just lying to me, you know, to manipulate me. Maybe he's right that I shouldn't be trusting these people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you do get kind of that sense of like the well, actually, at some points throughout really all the books, you almost get the sense of like Katniss is the only person you can trust in the story.
Which is not too hard, being that obviously we're inside her head throughout the whole entire thing. But
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, when you're watching it and looking at it, you're like, she's like the only good person here. I mean, even at times in this, you're questioning, is Haymitch a good is Haymitch good? Like, can you trust Haymitch?
Mm-hmm.
Finnick isn't someone that you usually tend to question because he's out of it for a lot of this one, and then once he comes in, he's usually right there with Katniss. But like Gale, you don't know if you can trust Gale for part of this too, because he starts to kind of waver a little bit, with different things. Like, yeah, he's constantly sticking up for Katniss, but then there's other times like when the broadcast for PETA comes on, and Finnick and Katniss again. This might just I don't really I know that they usually correlate pretty well, book to movie, but if at any point in time I'm talking about something that isn't in the movie specifically, then whatever. But at the point where Katniss and Finnick are watching the hijacked things that they did, after that a thing of PETA shows up, and they deny seeing it because they don't want to have those conversations with anyone, and no one says anything about it. And Katniss kind of loses some trust in Gale when Gale doesn't ever mention it to her either, knowing full well in her mind that he's probably seen it, but he's not willing to talk to her about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so she gets a little upset with him. It's like, so there is a certain point where you're like, can I really trust Gale? Like, obviously it comes back to, yeah, I may be a little mad at him, but I trust him. But someone as much of a cornerstone in her life as him, it's really things really get fuzzy.
Mm-hmm.
I do know at the beginning of the movie, she does start. She's like in the crouch position, huddling and saying the things to herself. I'm Katniss Everdeen. I'm from District 12. I survived the Hunger Games. Stuff like that, to kind of remind herself of who she is, um, and kind of what's truth. Because of all the trauma she's been through and all the things that she's had to deal with. You know, she needs a constant reminder, and I feel like that's one reason why things are so blurry, watching these movies, is because it's from the perspective of Katniss. So when you're reading or watching the movies or the reading the books, um, I feel like that's why you get that sense of unsure what's going on, who to trust, but Katniss is the one that you're going to stick with because you're seeing it through her eyes.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, you even question, especially in this book slash movies. You even question people who in the first book you'd never thought you would question, like Haymitch or like PETA.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
which I think so like I said, I just finished the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, the book by I said just it was like 2 weeks ago. But Suzanne Collins did a really good job in that book of it too, but you she does a really good job of making you like get attached to characters and then question your attachment.
Mhm.
And but
I mean, I feel like
then you also get characters like Effie, who in the first two books just was like a you know she's capital, what you know, and then she actually
Mhm.
starts to actually do good. Like you especially in this book, there's a lot of subverting of expectations of characters.
Yeah. I was gonna say though, in a book like Song Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, if I can get that out. Um, you do have to have that aspect of it.
Mm,
Because you're dealing with a main character in the main antagonist for the original series.
mm,
In the original three books, this is the main villain. This is his origin story. This is how he came to power. You have to if he's the protagonist, you have to have some sympathy to him starting out,
mm.
and then by the end of it, he has to be who you know moving forward.
Well, in that book, so even at the very beginning, he's still a narcissist who doesn't really care for anyone but himself.
Mhm.
But you still want to root for him.
But yeah, and I also feel like too, even if he starts out like that, there is some character growth when Lucy Gray shows up and he cares for her,
Mm,
because then it's like, oh, he went from someone who doesn't care about anyone to, oh, he cares about this one person. And then when, things go wrong and, uh, in his mind, maybe he feels like he can't trust her, then it's like understandable why later on in life he can't he does not he's unwilling to have attachments because he knows the consequences per what happened at this one instance over here.
mm,
So I mean the only other attachment he ever had in his whole entire life was his granddaughter. Like not even his wife. He married his wife for just it wasn't anything like any big deal. It was no love. It was just, yeah.
mm.
I don't remember if it was like a political thing or if it was just for show. I don't know. People who know the books better would know that. Sarah's probably screaming at me right now for telling me what it is. Uh, but
Well, no,
hopefully I'm just not in the car with her when she's listening to this.
well, no, it was a very on his part, it was a very like calculated move. Like, okay, I get along with her, and enough that it was yeah, you're right. It was political. It was you know.
Yeah. No love involved whatsoever because he didn't want to have attachments to have weakness.
Mm,
Um, but down to it, and you see this in the specifically one in his downfall, or you see this in these books because it's when his downfall comes in. Um, but honestly, his biggest Achilles heel, his biggest problem is his narcissistic attitude, his need for control, his need for power is ultimately what, you know, pushes him off the edge in the long run because he's constantly going back and forth with District 13 and Katniss and all these things, and eventually he's out of cards to play, but he's still trying because he has to be in control even up until his death. He's still trying to have one little thing where he's in control of it or manipulating someone or something,
mm,
you know, just because he has, and that just, it's his character flaw that he never gets over. Um, and ultimately may not be specifically his downfall, but it obviously is something that trips him up.
mm. Yeah, and
They're awfully quiet.
of course we do get to see more of that in the second part of Mockingjay, because well, honestly, he's not really in this part of the book much.
No, I don't really remember him much listening to it. I think maybe one or two mentions of him, but it was all on the screen. Like there's
Mm.
no actual dialogue with him or anything like that. Um, but so I don't want to go through the whole entire theory with it, but I found it kind of compelling. Because I like things like this that kind of, this subversion of expectations. Uh, so Super Carlton Brothers, their YouTube channel posts a video talking about the Hunger Games and talking about
I know where you're going with this.
um
Yeah,
yes, if you watch the video,
yeah, I watched the video.
well, good. Then you can talk a little bit about it and fill in things that I may not remember or whatever. So in it, they basically talk about how everything in the Hunger Games is rigged, even down to Prim being chosen in the beginning of the first book movie. Um all of it leading so Katniss could become the Mockingjay. And so like there's a lot to it, and they lay out a lot of good evidence for it. Um, Obviously, there are some things that you have to be like, yeah, that can happen. Maybe there's not evidence for it or against it. You just kind of have to, if you want to accept it, you can accept it. But basically, where Coin is orchestrating everything, so that she can be in power, essentially, kind of just reinforcing that narcissistic uh mentality that she has as well. Um, and I kind of like the idea of it because yeah, Snow is a great villain and a great, he's calculating, he's always, trying to be two steps ahead. He's pushing his thumb down on every, anyone who tries to resist. But, it's all through fear where he gets his control, you know. And if you do something where Coin ends up being the actual mastermind, actual villain behind the scenes, orchestrating a lot of this, you get a much more like uh thought out and um calculated like master plan. And those are always cool to
Well,
do. We've talked about this before with like the with Star Wars because we have to interject that in every single podcast. I don't think we did last week, so there's that. But moving forward will be good. Uh but you're talking about with Thrawn, he's a very calculating villain. And you need things like this. Obviously, you need them to be beatable, but it's always really intriguing to have a villain that's so smart that it's like, how are they ever going to outwit him? This wouldn't be the same thing, but having your protagonist kind of caught off guard by certain things is interesting. Anyways, what were you going to say?
well, let's say like in the books, you know, everything from catching fire is planned out. So it's not really that far of a stretch to say that even in the first Hunger Games book, stuff was planned out.
Well, the most compelling part of this whole thing, though, too, is think about it. How many times your name's put in the bowl, the likelihood of a first year getting chosen is extremely low. Not unheard of and not completely random or unlikely, but just so very low
Mm.
that, like what are the odds that Prim would be chosen? Not high. You know, Gale has his name in there like 42 times, I think I remember it being. Katniss is around 30 something, like him being one name in that whole thing. Kind of crazy that she got chosen. And yeah, like you said, they're definitely, here's the thing. these make a lot of sense to be rigged. Now, sure, the inside of the game may or may not be rigged because you can't really rig how people interact with other people. If, one tribute kills another tribute, you can't really deal with that. But how the arenas are played in, if anything in the arena kills someone, you can kind of control a lot of those things. So yeah, a lot of it is controlled. And like you said, being that the 75th Hunger Games is so planned out, um, it would make sense that this could be planned out too. Because I mean, Plutarch's been in the game at the Capitol for years. He's been helping them plan out games for years. So being able to do this is not really out
I
of the realm
mean,
of
he was the head game maker in 75th, but he was probably still involved in 74th.
Mhm. And like it said at one point, the games aren't built overnight. Those arenas
Mm.
aren't just built overnight. They're planned out far in advance. So, things like this have been planned out. Also, it mentioned in that video, they also mentioned how District 12 due to location is the closest to District 13. And with how much snow sees, like, the kiss from Katniss and Gale, it's not out of the realm of possibility to think that maybe District 13 has their own surveillance so they can see things. And District 12 is the closest to them. So them being able to see Katniss and kind of see how she is and who she is and all that stuff, yeah, you could start running up the story and be like, oh, look at this. We can see her. We can move her into this role. Oh, it can be sympathetic because, oh, her sister, this, that, the other thing, you know. And like you just start getting the pieces built on top of each other where it's like Katniss is the perfect person to be the Mockingjay,
Mm.
and things just start building up for it. Um, Obviously, this is just a theory. It's a really great video. I I don't remember what it's titled, but I think it's talking about something about how the Hunger Games is rigged. But it's by Super Carlton Brothers, another YouTube channel that I've watched a decent amount of in the years past. They're pretty good. But once again, shouting out more YouTube channels.
If you've ever heard of the Pixar theory, they're the ones that made it popular.
Yeah, to find their channel, you forget anything. It's Pixar Theory. Look that up. You can find some great videos
Yeah.
for them. All right, David. What else we gotta say about this?
Um. See, I'm having trouble because like I want to mention stuff, but I'm like, wait, no, that's the next movie. Because in all
Yeah.
reality, like the it doesn't wrap anything up until Mockingjay Part Two.
Well, also you gotta think about the fact too. This is like a middle movie
Mm.
because things in this movie and that get wrapped up in Mockingjay Part Two, a lot of it starts in Catching Fire.
Yeah.
It doesn't start in this movie. So if you don't really have things in this movie that are uh introduced or concluded, then it's like, well, what's there really to talk about? Coin was the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I was curious what else you had going on thought wise.
Um.
While you think, I'm gonna grab something for Sarah. She asked me for some food, so un momento.
All right. So what do you want to talk about?
I don't know. I kind of ran out of things to talk about with this, so I was thinking if you didn't have anything else to say, we could jump into Trailcast trivia. But you tell me what you're thinking.
Yeah, we can go ahead and jump into Trailcast trivia. Wow, this is gonna be a short one. I guess that makes up for
And
for
I figured,
last week being almost 3 hours.
yeah, I figured this week would be short.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, we can go ahead and jump into Trailcast trivia. So
Railcast trivia.
okay, we really need to workshop a actual intro.
I have you an actual intro. You're just unwilling to use it.
Uh huh.
All right. I'm ready, David. I'm ready. I read the book and I know more.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's do further and jump right in. Question number
I don't know if that
one.
was the first question or not, but I'm going to go with false.
Question number one. What year did The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 come out? Was it A, 2012, B, 2013, C, 2014, or D, 2015?
Okay, so I answered this on Instagram and I got it wrong. Um, oh, I forgot
Half
to
a point
mention for anyone
deducted.
who is playing the, yeah, well, whatever. For anyone who is playing along, I forgot to mention, but we'll do the normal drill. If this is your first time listening, we'll take a quick little pause, and then we will answer. I will start going into the question and my thoughts on it all. But make sure to pause it during that period so that you can think and answer in your own head. If you don't care, keep listening. All right. But what I was gonna say though is that I answered it on the Instagram. And I got it wrong because I thought it came out in 2015. I thought it was sooner than that. But no, it actually came out in 2014.
Mm-hmm. So
That's my answer. Final answer.
that is correct. So the answers that I had put in there are the three movies, or the four movies, I mean. So the first one came out in 2012, and it came out every year since.
That's that's what I was thinking of because I was thinking about when the last Hunger Games movie came out, and it would have been the next one, which came out the year after. Okay, so that's probably what I was
Yep.
thinking about in my head.
Yep.
Okay.
So this one came out in 2014.
All right. Well,
Question
hey, I am
number
doing good. 50%, baby.
Question number 2. During the propaganda filming, what building is destroyed in District 8? Is it A, a school, B, an armory, C, a hospital, or D, a warehouse?
Okay, so I'm not gonna ask a clarifying question because I'm just gonna go with my answer or what my thought answer is here. But I was wondering what like you're talking about the main thing that fell down and was destroyed in the bombing? Because I'm pretty sure there was a warehouse that got destroyed, but I'm gonna go with the answer that a hospital got destroyed, or the hospital got destroyed. That's my final answer. But I mean, I'm pretty sure there was at least some damage to one of the warehouses. I'm making sure that that's actually what you're going for is that
What
hospital.
what what building
That's
was
what I'm answering.
targeted?
Yeah, the hospital. Yeah, yeah.
That is correct. Yes. The hospital
Yes,
was
I
the
know.
building that was targeted.
I was thinking, I was like, I'm pretty sure like something crashes into a warehouse and blows it up. So I was like, that'd be real stupid if if this is a trick question because it's worded weird. So I wanted to make sure I laid all that information out so that I could be like, I still got it right. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah.
I got it right. We're good. 50%, baby. Technically 100% right now.
Uh-huh. All right. How much? No, question number 3. How much time did PETA save District 13 when the Capitol bombs them? Is it A, 10 minutes, B, 1 hour, C, 8 minutes, or D, 30 minutes?
I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so when I need to listen to if there are books for movies, I need to listen to them more often because I pick up so much more from listening to them, the book what than I would watching the movie. Uh, the answer is 10 minutes because they're like, did he actually give us any heads up? Any significant heads up before um before we went down into the bunkers like that the sensors wouldn't have picked up, and they're like, yeah, it was about 10 minutes, which seems like such a short amount of time, but Gale and Primrose were in the top getting the cat, and so they just barely made it in, and if they didn't have those extra 10 minutes a lot of people would have died. Final answer.
So, okay. Here's one thing. So the book says about with a lot of these numbers. I should have specified
What?
this was from the movie.
Ah, whatever. So it's 8 minutes then?
Yeah, in the movie,
Or,
President Coin said 8 minutes.
oh, sucks to not watch the movie. The book said about 10 minutes, so that's where I was getting that from. But fine, all right. I
Mm,
missed one.
yeah. So yes, it was about 8 minutes, or it was 8 minutes.
You know,
Which
for so many of these things coming from the books, I feel like I'm getting screwed over here.
I know I picked now to go over some of the movie ones.
Yeah, exactly. Give me point five. Give me point five.
Okay,
Give me
yeah,
half a point.
I'll
I did.
give.
The book says about 10 minutes. So the movie screwed up. Okay, the
Okay,
movie screwed up.
yeah,
Give me point five.
I'll give you point 0.5. So you're at 2.5 now. All right. Question number 4. How does the Capitol hijack PETA's mind? A. Electric shocks. B. Jabberjays. C. Crackerjacker venom. Or D. They bribed him with Cracker Jacks.
That is a offensive last answer because I know exactly what you're doing with that. So I am going to go with C though. They use Cracker Jacker venom. I said what I meant.
C is correct. So yes, if you don't know that the D option there, if none of you, if someone is listening to this that didn't listen to our first Hunger Games podcast, or Wesley kept calling Tracker Jackers Cracker Jackers.
I knew what they were called, but I think I kept slipping. I don't know. I think I said it one time, and that is what it is from there on. They are from here henceforth thoroughly, fully, full thrown it all. They are Cracker Jackers. You can
Right.
find baseball cards inside of them.
Right. Anyway, question number 5. In the Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1, what is the name of the propaganda series produced by the rebels? Is it A, the Freedom Chronicles, B, the Capitol Expose, C, Public Occurrences, or D, the District Dispatch?
I don't remember this. I remember them talking about it, but I don't remember what it is. Um, I'm gonna go with the Freedom Chronicles because it's easy to go with, and I'm not gonna think too much about it or give too much reasoning. So yeah.
That is incorrect. The correct answer was B, the Capitol Expose. So
Works for me.
you are now 3.5 and 1.5.
Fair enough.
You've gotten three or I've given you 3.5 points because
Yeah.
give you half point. Now, this one you notice I did actually specify movies on this one because the
Yeah.
the numbers
I don't know
are
this
actually
one.
different. Books to
I
movies, the
don't know
numbers
this
are
one.
actually different.
I don't know this one from the books either.
All right, so question number 6. What was the population of District 12 before the bombings? And again, this is from the movies. Is it A, 8,000, B, 9,000, C, 10,000, or D, 12,000?
I'm gonna bring out my itty bitty little friend Mo again, and we're gonna choose an option. So it goes eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by his toe. If he hollers, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You know, every time I hit mo, it's going to be the last answer. There's a rhythm here. Should I go with the biggest one? I don't know if I should go with the biggest one. I feel like it's not that well populated. I'm gonna go against Mo and go with 8,000. It was a very small district. I don't know. That's what I'm gonna go with. 8,000. Final answer, not too much thought.
So in the books, I think it's mentioned at some point that the population of District 12 is around 8,000. In the movies, it's mentioned that it's around 10,000. I don't know why
I
they
didn't remember
changed.
if
I don't know why they changed it from these stuff. Um, and if y'all are wondering, I did pull a lot of the stuff from the wiki on uh Hunger Games. So that's where I'm pulling a lot of like these kind of numbers and stuff. And it actually mentioned that the differences between the books and the movies. That's why I specified in this question. Um, so because of that, I will give you another half point.
I will accept that. However, I do have to say that my guessing of 8 was not in correlation with remembering the books much, at least. Maybe I kind of do, but no, I did think 10,000. Maybe that would be a good, nice round number. But then I also thought it might be too round of a number, and you'd be tricking me. So you've kind of scarred me in this segment. Oh, but I will take it, which that puts me up to what?
Well, the main reason I did that is just so I can get you back to a whole number. But
Okay, fair enough.
so
I will
that
say,
puts you at 4 and 2.
this basically
Or
just
no,
means that I did get the
wait, no, not 4 and 2. Yeah, no, yeah, 4 and 2. Yeah.
yeah. This basically just means that I got the time PETA gave him question right.
Yeah.
That's my canon is that I got it right, and so here's my full point for it. So
Okay.
move along.
Yeah. Yeah. I should have specified movies,
50%,
but at the same time, it doesn't really matter that much. Anyway,
50%, baby.
question number 7. I don't remember if there was a difference between this and the books and the movies, but I did specify movies again as well.
All right.
So, question number 7. How many people survived the District 12 bombings? Is it A, 855, B, 870, C, 915, or D, 930?
So all I know about this is that very few people made it out, and that Yale kind of got as many people out as possible. So I'm just gonna go with the lowest number because I don't know what it is. Um, I should probably go against instinct, but I'm not. So I'm gonna go with whatever A is, 855.
The correct answer was C, 915.
This is such a specific answer.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's also District 13. They're very strict, so they would know.
Documenting every single person who,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
makes sense. I didn't
Question,
need that one.
question number 8. When was the Hunger Games Mockingjay published? Was it A, 2008, B, 2009, C, 2010, or D, 2011?
I have absolutely no clue whatsoever when this came out. I don't need this answer either. But I'm gonna go with D, 2011, for the heck of it.
That is incorrect. You were very close though. It was C, 2010.
See, don't you like how decisive I am?
Mm-hmm.
I just stick to it. I go and I answer quickly, and I stick to it.
Well, you're 4 and 4 now, so
I don't need to get two more to be 50%, and I can actually get 50% this time, David.
yes, it's
I
an
can
even
actually
number.
be 66.
There are only 12 questions this time, so it's an actual even number. Question number 9. This might be the hardest one on here. I don't know.
Really? This is one I actually know.
Oh, okay. Um,
Unless I get it wrong, and in which case,
question number 9. What is the Everdeen family's compartment after the bombing in District 13? Or it should be District 12, shouldn't it? Anyway,
let's see
basically,
if you know.
where are they staying? What is the compartment they're staying in?
Whoa, whoa, wait a minute, wait a minute. So I understand what you're saying, but are you talking about when they go into the bunker or when they go to live in District 13? 'Cause there's two different compartments in there, and one answer will answer which one they're in when they're in the bunker, and one answer will be where they're at when they go to District 13. So that needs to be clarified. Because my thought was it was where they were in the bunker.
I think that's where I was going with it, as the bunker. Because after the bombing of District 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We can list off the answers
Okay,
then.
so yeah. A, compartment E. B, compartment 3908. C, compartment 2212. Or D, compartment 307.
With that in mind, I don't necessarily remember if it was. I know it was three something. It might have been 307. I feel like it was 309 though. When they were in District 13 in their first apartment. But compartment E is the one that I'm remembering when they go down into the bunker and are hiding out during the bomb strikes on District 13. Oh, final answer.
You've got me questioning myself now. Let me go back and fact check myself here real quick. Hold
Well,
on.
I'm just confused about what the actual question's asking because there's a couple different that got to make sure we know what we're talking about because
Yeah, so let me go back and fact check because the question is phrased. The question is actually I think I got this from another from a like an actual trivia site, but the question is phrased for after the bombing. Um,
after District 12's bombing,
after District 13's bombing.
that would be compartment E. But if it's after 12, then the closest one that I would see would be D307. So I'm just confused at what the answer, or not the answer. What's the answer you have?
So the answer I had was 2212.
I don't remember. This might be the movie
All
thing. I
right,
don't
let
remember
me
that
see
though.
here. All right, so yeah, so this is okay. So the Everdeen family is giving compartment 2212, and talks about Katniss is immediately taken to film more propo spots, confirming the Capitol did not kill her. So this is after the bombing of District 13. So yes, that
You're
is
talking about not when they're in the bunker though. You're talking about after the bombing when they come up.
yes,
That's fine. I'm just clarifying.
yes. Okay, yeah. So that's what.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I should have done more research on this question because I got it from a third party site. So I should have done more research on it.
They that's the thing is they stayed in four different bedrooms throughout the duration of being in District 13. I think the first one was like 309. It might be 37. That might be where you got the one from.
Mm.
I thought it was like 309, and then they go to the upstairs one, which I don't know what that one was, and then they go to compartment E in the bunker, and then I guess they go to 2212. So
Mm.
confusing question. I'm fine to fall to 4 and 5. I know enough of the last couple ones.
All
So
right.
I'll still get 50%.
Yeah. Question number 10. What is a mockingjay? Is it a bird originally native to districts 11, 12, and 13? B, a mutation made in the Capitol Labs? C, a natural hybrid between a regular mockingbird and a jabberjay, or D, a guy named Jay who mocks everyone.
I am really confident about this one. I'm so confident about this one. It's a guy named Jay who mocks everyone. Hands down, that's the right answer. Anyone else who says it differently is stupid. No, I'm kidding. The actual answer is a hybrid between a regular mockingjay and a jabberjay because like jabberjays, I think we're all supposed to be like male, female, one gender, and they went and mated. So now you have mockingjays, and then you also have mocking. You have a mockingjay, a guy named Jay who mocks everyone.
You know what? Sure.
Okay.
But yeah, C is correct. Natural hybrid between regular mockingbirds and jabberjays. So you're 5 and 5. Question 11. Where is the dam that gets destroyed? The hydroelectric dam that gets destroyed. Is it A in District 2, B in District 5, C in District 8, or D in District 9?
So you added this in while you were saying the answer, which is not on the sheet that I have. You said hydroelectric dam instead of just the dam that was destroyed. So
I was
I knew it was,
clarifying, but
yeah. Well, since it wasn't clarified on there, I was a little bit not really sure to begin with. Um, Not that I still can get this wrong, but it clears up. I'm more confident in my answer.
mhm.
I know it's not two. I think it's not two. I think it's not. I think it's five. I don't. It's not eight, and I don't think it's nine. I'm pretty sure that five is where they did a lot of the stuff. Um, they don't really deal with District Two until later in the book. So I'm gonna go with all my confidence. Whether I get this wrong or right, I don't really care. I'm gonna go with District Five, letter number, answer B.
That is correct. You're 6 and 5.
And I can't lose. But you know what? I'm gonna do better than that.
Mm. So, question number 12. If you read Songbirds and Snakes, this is easy. Like, super easy. um,
Well, I haven't, but I still know it.
okay. So, question number 12. What is President Snow's first name? Is it A. James, B. Sejanus, C. Coriolanus, or D. Casca?
Okay. I definitely said that I knew it with too much confidence. I have an answer, but it's not like in the back of my mind I'm like I can get this wrong. Um, I'm gonna go with Coriolanus. I'm pretty sure that's what his name is. Um, but no, I don't. Did they only introduce his first name in this newest one?
So they did when I was watching the movie. They did mention it in the movie. I can't remember if they mentioned it in the Mockingjay book or not. But
I feel
either
like I've
way,
heard it beforehand.
either way, it came from Suzanne Collins. Uh,
Yeah, that's my
so
answer. Final
I
answer
think
for
it
B.
wasn't. I think it was in the Mockingjay book too. But
Okay.
that is correct. It was C. Coriolanus.
Coriolanus Snow.
Hmm.
What a name.
Yeah, it gets kind of annoying in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Every time they refer to him, it's Coriolanus, Coriolanus, That's kind of a long name.
You're just like, C. Okay. You know how like when you read over a name and you know what it says, but you don't bother reading it in your head?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So David, what did I win? I won.
You win brownie points.
Tired of brownies. I get them every week.
I was about to say I've got a Chick-fil-A gift thing or whatever for a cookie or a brownie. So
Okay, I'll take that. I'll
yeah,
take it.
only works at one Chick-fil-A though.
Well, I was thinking that you could go ahead and get it for me, and then I'll just take the brownie.
Okay. And this actually expires on my birthday next year.
Well, you better get working.
Hmm. Yeah,
All
it's like in
right,
10 months
David.
though, so I don't care.
I feel like this is all in
All right, so
all
you're
what's new with you conversation. So is
yeah, so
that where
seven
we're going?
yeah, so you were 7 and 5, and yeah, let's go ahead and head to what's new with you because we didn't do that last week. All right, where's it? Where's our soundboard? Hold up.
Technical difficulties.
All right, here we go.
What's new? What's new with you? What's new? What's new with you? What's new? What's new with you? Yeah!
I feel like the fact that that is our intro to what's new with you means that I should be able to get the Trailcast trivia song. I just feel like that's just how it is.
Hmm.
David, what's new with you?
Well, I was gonna ask you that first.
I'd rather know what's going on with you first. Might be a longer conversation.
Hmm. Let me guess, because you've done absolutely nothing.
Well, either that or I have to think about it.
Hmm. Well, what do you want to hear first? What I've been reading, what I've been watching, or what I've been playing?
Well, you started with what I'm reading, so go ahead and tell me what you're reading, and then tell me what you're watching, and then tell me what you're playing.
Well, well, okay, I'm more listening to it, but I started listening to the Thrawn books, or I started listening to the Heir to the Empire. Um,
Hmm.
Watching Ahsoka kind of got me on a Star Wars kick, and I'm like, okay, I haven't ever read these before, so
Watching Ahsoka got me off of a Star Wars kick.
fair enough.
Oops.
Hmm.
What are you watching then currently? Since that's what you're reading or listening to. What are you watching?
Um, I started rewatching Invincible. Yeah, season
I
one,
have started
because
it.
you have started it.
Yeah, I've watched like the first couple episodes.
Hmm. You need
He's
to.
joined up with the other group that he goes to school with. He's joined up with them. Uh, that's about all I really remember. I think some things about the investigation with his like what's gone on with the other group is started, stuff like that.
Very
I'm
specific.
pretty early on in it because I know those specific things, but that's about it.
Well, all that's like episode 2, but season 2
That
comes
might
out.
be where I'm at.
Season 2 comes out in a few weeks. Sometime next month. I don't remember the exact date, but it comes out in a few
Okay.
weeks. So I've been rewatching it just to, in preparation for that. And you need to
How many
finish it.
episodes are in season one?
8.
How many episodes are in season one? Eight?
8.
Oh, I should be able to finish this. I won't, but I should.
Yes, you should.
It's good. It's good. Time, David, time. Lack thereof.
Hmm.
I mean, here, even this. Okay, I didn't even watch Mockingjay Part one because I didn't end up having time. And this is something I usually take time to do stuff for. So
Hmm.
I just got I forgot that I had stuff to do.
Yeah. I'd have just put it on the schedule because we've got an empty spot coming up, so you'll finish it then.
That's what you think. What 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 have you been playing? Tell me about that. What you been playing?
So I started playing Fallout New Vegas.
All Out New Vegas.
Hmm.
GTA?
Wait, what's up?
I said, is that like a GTA game?
No, no, it's a Fallout game.
Oh, Fallout. Okay, now I'm getting the picture. I don't know what I was thinking. Because you said Fallout, my first thought was Fallen Order, and so I was like, I don't know where I was getting anything from. It's been a long day, David. Don't
No, no,
question too many things.
it came out in 2010. It's basically a. I mean, it takes place in the Fallout universe. It's not a mainline game because it's not a numbered game, but it's basically a another studio other than Bethesda. It's or Obsidian who are actually the same. Obsidian is the same group of developers who originally made the first two Fallout games, but it's a different company. Um, but basically they took a lot of the asset or all the assets and stuff from Fallout 3 and made a different game with them.
Ooh,
It's on the same engine as Fallout 3. A lot of the same assets. Yeah.
sounds pretty fun to me. I don't
You
know.
sound so
I,
bored.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I have not really gotten into the Fallout games.
Hmm.
It's not they're bad. It's just I haven't gotten into it.
Hmm.
It's a me thing. Maybe it's a you thing. I don't really know. It's one of the two, and I'm definitely gonna go with it's a you thing because I don't want to take responsibility for that. Not not my kind of thing.
Hmm. So, so other than nothing, what have you been up to?
Me and Sarah have been playing Lego Lord of the Rings.
Oh wow, I actually
I think the
playing that
last
not
thing
too
that
long
we
ago too.
did was we just met Faramir.
Oh,
That's
okay.
where
So
we're
so
at.
you're like playing it. You're not like you're playing the
Yeah.
story.
Well, yeah, this is the first time we've played
Oh,
this
okay.
through, so
Okay.
but yeah, no, we're playing through the movies right now. So
Okay.
yeah, we're at Faramir, I think is the last thing that we did. I'm not entirely sure. Um and yeah, it's been pretty fun, you know. I mean, I really do like Lego games. They're fun, they're cool. And Lord of the Rings is a great thing to move over to that. And you know, she got it because she wanted to play with me. So I got it like 2 birthdays ago or something. Maybe yeah, it was my I think my 20th birthday that she got it, and we're finally just now kind of getting through most of it. Um, we've not really had much time, but now we're making time for it, and it's kind of fun. It's fun, and it's not a rage inducing game like when we play Mario Kart or um uh Mario Party. Either one of those, we she tends to get mad at me because of my ultra competitive side. Don't look at me like that.
Right.
It tends to get a little heated, and
Hmm.
but this is like this is a team building game. You know, that's one thing that I really like, and I think this is the reason that I like Lego games. Probably a reason why I don't really care too much for the newest one, the Skywalker saga. Um, is like they are so they're puzzle games. They're puzzle.
Hmm.
They're not hard puzzles, but they're puzzle games. You know, and I feel like that's why I didn't really care for too much of this newest one. It's an open world game, and that's about where it stops. Like the levels don't take long to do. There's not much to the levels. You know, you're kind of progressing, but there's not that many um puzzles to solve throughout as a whole. And it was a fine game, but I like classic Lego games more than most of the stuff that they put out recently. This is like an updated new style that they're doing it in, and I don't really care for that style as much.
Hmm. Yeah.
Personal opinion.
Yeah. That's the thing. With the Skywalker saga, I got through the prequels and original trilogy, and then once I got to the sequel trilogy, I'm just like, man. I
Yeah.
think I've done like half the Force Awakens, and like the puzzles aren't really that fun, and it's not a great story. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna.
I'm pretty sure that's about where I'm at. I know I got through the original trilogy and the prequels. I know I'm in the
Now
sequel trilogy. I don't know where. but it's just it's not a great story, and the gameplay's
I will
it
say
is what it is.
like going through the like prequels and stuff like in the original trilogy too, but the duels were really fun. But that's only a small portion of the game.
Yeah. Um, I still would take the complete saga over this,
Oh, the levels
even
are
though
much better.
this,
Levels are much better in the Complete Saga.
even though this is really cool to have the open world. Sometimes I feel like it's just a little bit too much, you know?
Mm. If you
For
could
a Lego game,
have
at least.
if you could have the combat and the style of this game with the levels of the Complete Saga, I feel like that'd be a lot better.
Basically, a Star Wars version of Batman 2.
Yeah.
Batman 2 had the same traditional levels, but it also had an open world outside of the Batcave.
Mm.
Like Batman 2 is probably one of my favorite Lego games for those reasons. Like I like the open world aspect. I love Batman, and the levels were fun.
Mm.
I wasn't entirely sure how I felt about the talking. I feel like still the just the traditional grunts. It has a little bit more comedic comedy to comedic comedy. I don't know. It's a little funnier, the stuff that they do, but I'm okay with it. So,
Mm. Well, actually, there is a setting in the Skywalker Saga where you can turn on the grunts, but those cutscenes are so long. It's not funny. It's just
stupid.
yeah.
Yeah. Say some of the best ones I remember are from Lego Batman, and those cutscenes. They're funny. I mean, slapstick funny, but it's still funny, especially if you're like, you know, a kid.
Yeah.
I still find it fun. But I mean, the thing about it too, like, okay, uh, also think about some of the TV shows that you and I grew up watching, cartoon wise. Okay, for me, like you have Tom and Jerry, no talking. You have the Pink Panther, which was one of my favorite shows growing up, no talking. Both very funny shows. You know,
Mm.
they did their humor in a different way, and I think that's one thing that I wish Lego did a little bit more of. This one's pretty good. It takes movie quotes right out of the movie, not always in order, but it takes them out of the movie. But then also it has the grunting and stuff like that. It has some of the slapstick comedy. Boromir gets shot with a banana. He almost gets shot with a chicken.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty funny. He's the orc there is sitting there and he's pulling the chicken back and it's going. "Brr, brr, 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 brr." He's about to shoot him, and then Aragorn shows up.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny, David. It was funny, but you had to be there. You're just a killjoy. Just killing all my joy. Killjoy. That's what we call you.
Buzzkill.
Killjoy.
Buzzkill.
You're buzzing my joy, Killy.
Party pooper.
David, if you have any bowel problems and you can't control, you need to go to the bathroom. Don't do that. In no, no, that will stink, literally.
Right. I think you're taking this way too seriously.
I think you need to go to the bathroom.
All right. On the topic of games, I had an idea for one.
Bad idea for a game.
Might be bad, might be good.
It's your
So,
idea, so I think we're pretty solidly in the bad.
all right. So, well, actually, part of this idea came from a YouTube short. So I don't know if you've probably seen some of his stuff, but Johnny Razor.
Yeah, I figured that's where you were going with this because he's the one that does most of these.
Yeah. So one of his ideas was like, okay, so a horror game that's like team based. So like you have like a team of four, like four players or whatever, and you're going through this like whatever, but it has integrated chat, like voice chat,
Hmm.
and the game has AI that can learn your voice and throw random prompts in the chat, like
Hmm.
using your voice. So it'll randomly like mute you, take you out of the voice chat lobby, and then basically make a double of you in the voice chat, leading your friends away.
So basically a much more intricate version of like um whatever the game's called with the imposters
Among Us.
um Among Us
Mm,
kinda.
yeah, but yeah, do that, and then, you could have like a 2D top-down kind of pixelated kind of thing. I guess similar to Among Us, but
Mhm.
I have it so you're exploring like this castle or something, and the thing is, you wouldn't even really need to have a horror monster. Just have spooky, creepy, crawly things around, like random jump scares, and then add that in, and that's gonna
Yeah.
be one of the most terrifying horror games ever.
Is it kind of like where maybe you as a player like maybe the monster takes you and puts a clone in your place, so like when that happens you're out of the game, but like you can kind of fend off it for a while, but eventually something you do or some puzzle you can't solve takes you out of the game, and then you're out and you're just kind of watching as a dead person,
Well, no,
and you have to.
you're like let's say the monster let's say like it starts taking over, like it starts copying you in the chat. You're just in a random part of the castle. You're still walking around. You can't hear your friends. They can't hear you anymore. You're just randomly walking around, and you can come across them again. And it would actually be kind of funny if when that happens, if it also makes a clone of you too, like
What
actually your
if
character.
what if all your group is together though?
Then it would just do the voice thing.
Okay.
And it
That'd be
could also
interesting.
do. Let's say if you have four players, it could also do it where it splits two and two off, and in just two separate group chats, and then has two and two imposters.
The yawn was not indicative of my reaction to uh the game. Actually sounds pretty cool. Um I wouldn't play it because, that's just how I am. I would never have time. But I'd be like, I need to play that game.
But the thing about it though is you definitely need to have a lot of advanced AI to be able to do all of that.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's as big of a problem though. I feel like you need to have friends first.
I'm talking about making a game like that, but
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if nobody has a friend. And
that's
four of
true.
them? I had to have four friends?
Three friends.
Yeah, but you're asking the impossible. No, no, I had to have four friends that don't care about me and want to kick me out of the group.
Well, that might be more doable.
That's actually probably true. That's probably true. But I had to find four of them.
Wouldn't that be sad if you like made a group of friends, you found a bunch of friends, and then you're the one that made this friend group, and they kick you out.
I don't want to relive the past, David. Shut up. Anyways, I do want to bring this little bit up because of some flack that I have gotten today. Um, and I don't really know what else we have to talk about. But so we talked about this beforehand. My wife Sarah strongly disagrees with the rankings that we did last week on the podcast. How do you feel about our list, David? How do you feel about our list?
Um, I personally would change some things, but I feel like it's a pretty good list. Like I mean, like our top 10 would probably be my top 10. I would probably put them in a different order, but that'd probably be my top
Yeah,
10. And then
that's kind of how I felt.
I think I agree with that. The bottom five, I agree. I even agree with the order. Like
Yeah, yeah,
I
I
wouldn't change
agree.
that
I
at all.
agree with. I agree with how the lower ones. Um, the top five, Guardians is overrated. Uh, but that's just my only knock on that. Okay, but I also reflecting on it too. I feel like personally, I feel like I would put Winter Soldier at number one because I like it better. But the reasoning we put it at number one was because we agreed that Civil War was a better movie, which I think I still agree with that. But we did kind of change our criteria for where we would rank things as we were ranking them, depending on where we were, how we felt at that point in time. But we
Mm,
also filmed for almost 3 hours, so I feel like our moods are subject to change, so that's okay. But
yeah, yeah.
but she also made the comment that okay, so here's my opinion. Here's my opinion. I want to hear what your thoughts on this are. Captain America: The First Avenger is the worst of the Captain America movies. And it's not a bad movie. It's just the Captain America movies get better as they progress.
Mm,
Now, I do like Winter Soldier the best, but I think as a movie, that the plot and the intricacy and all that stuff of Civil War is still a slight step up above Winter Soldier. And I feel like they capitalized on first Avenger, and they did a really good job with moving into the Winter Soldier and making a like it's not like leagues ahead of the first Avenger. I feel like they incrementally get better, even though they're all really strong, really good movies. Now, Sarah's screaming at me right now, not currently, but currently as in listening to this. So I hear you, but what are your thoughts, David?
well, it's funny because I don't know what. Well, she was texting me about this earlier, and because she said that she thinks Civil War is overrated.
She thinks it's the worst Captain America movie.
Yeah, and I don't know if she's in the room when you're recording this now, but she just texted
No,
me in
no, she can.
all caps saying wrong.
Oh, she can hear me. She can hear me. Is that what this was? Yeah, I just got back wrong.
Yeah, so uh yeah, so she just texted me that. So apparently she can hear you. So
She, I do tend to talk pretty loud. It's also I can speak into the mic and hopefully get heard. But yeah. So what are your thoughts on this? She cannot hear you.
um I mean, like I said, I feel pretty good about our list. I I think I personally would have put like in games in our top five. I think I would have put that a little bit lower just because I think it's a great movie, perfect ending to the franchise. But it's not one of my personal favorites.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest knocks on that one too is the fact it's so long.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Yeah, there are certain things that reflecting back on it that I'm like, maybe we should have switched this around, maybe we should have switched that around. But all in all, like yeah, like you said, I mean, like the top 10 are probably still would be in my top 10, different order, but top 10.
Hmm.
And the thing is too is like there are so many great Marvel movies. I mean, she mentioned something about how uh we were giving a little bit too much hate on Iron Man, and I was like, we didn't give any hate to Iron Man. We just put movies above it because we thought they were better. Like it's a great movie. It's low on the rankings because they're better movies.
Hmm.
She also says that Iron Man 2 is better than Iron Man 3, and that Iron Man 3 is the worst of the Iron Man movie.
I don't know. In my head, I think those are about equal.
They are, but I feel like Iron Man 3 has more redeeming qualities, like more interesting aspects to it. I mean, this is all a personal opinion. So
Hmm.
I'm not trying to okay, here I am. I am trying to flame her on the podcast. Not really flame her, I guess, but I am trying to call her out, but at the same time I'm not. Like this is all opinions. You can have a differing opinion. Um but uh It's just because it was on the mind.
Hmm.
We've been talking about that today. That's about all we've talked about today. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, she listened to the podcast, and it's all she'll talk about with you.
Yeah. So she had to speak her mind about that. I mean, it's just fair, which is fair, but
Mhm.
you know, it is what it is.
And
I was
like
just curious.
And like I told her earlier, I think it's a good idea. If she wants to come on come up with her own ranking for the MCU and come on the podcast and tell us her ranking and roast us for being idiots for our ranking, I'm fine with that.
I actually think that actually what we should do for that is next week forego What's New with You. You and me leave, and she comes on by herself so that there's no interruption from us and just roasts us and tells us what her ranking is, you know?
Well, if you can get her to agree to that, I'm good with that.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do it. We will do it. Will be What's Wrong with You featuring Sarah. But the What's Wrong with You is like pointed at us, you know? So
I think we can workshop that title a little bit better, but yeah.
No, David. That is the title. That is the best title you could ever come up with. Actually, no, it's better than any title you could come up with, which is why we're going with it.
Okay, but you're just copying What's New with You.
Exactly. So it's on brand.
Okay, you said it's better than any title I came up with, but I came up with What's New with You, so.
I don't care. You didn't come up with What's Wrong with You, so this is better, David. Better. Do you not know what better means? It means better.
I'm not sure you know what your logic means.
I don't think I have logic, but I know I'm better. I think it's a wrap.
I don't think you know what you're saying, but okay. What are you doing?
I was gonna start rapping because I said it was a rap. Well, I wasn't gonna start rapping. I was gonna lay down a beat so you could rap.
Okay, Wesley.
I know how you love the freestyle.
Wesley. White guys can't rap unless you're Eminem.
That's why I was laying down a beat so you could rap. I don't want to make a fool of myself on the internet. Okay, I don't want to make any more of a fool of myself on the internet than I already have. So I thought that you could do it because you don't care.
But I know I can't rap.
And tell me 2 words that rhyme.
Why?
Another one?
No.
Those 2 don't rhyme, David. You're right. You can't rap. Let's just go ahead and end this. And I'll give you an English lesson later, but like, poetry or something like that. Let's just end this here. This is we're done. We're done. Thank you. Come back later. Down the Rabbit Show. That wrong show. Trailcast.
Let's do an outro.
Okay.
Well, explorers, that's about all the time we have for today.
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode.
Let us know what you thought in the comments down below, or you can DM us on Instagram at DownTheRabbitTrailYT.
Be sure to comment if you think that we are idiots, especially when it comes to our rankings, and for future enraging content. Join us next week on The Trailcast.